Hello, and welcome to Liberate Your Life podcast, a place where we come together and explore Ayurvedic wisdom, holistic healing, and spirituality, empowering individuals to explore their true nature and transform their life. I'm your host, Melinda Reese, Ayurvedic practitioner, Panchakarma specialist, and founder of Tahoe Ayurveda. And I am here to help you transform your life. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 25, Free Your Mind. In this episode, I explore the power of freedom through Vedic wisdom and how to really free your mind in the sense of thoughts, beliefs, conditioning, fear, and to really access a greater potential of awareness and freeing your capacity to tap into your true self, your true essence, your true nature, and to live a deeply fulfilling life connected to inner peace, awareness, and true freedom. Ayurveda offers guidance through Vedic teachings to support the inner path of self-knowledge for self-healing. And with that, we're learning to understand our unique mind-body constitution and then how to align our everyday choices to support our highest good and overall well-being. At birth, we begin the journey of the ego and embodied self. We try to satiate the mind and the body. We feel the primal urges to survive, caught up by our separation and sensory impulse. We become trapped by attachment, resistance, and appearance. Our beautiful mind, its action is to know, and it wants to create stories, ideas, and beliefs to really kind of organize and place that which we're experiencing. And it convinces us that it is here to guide us and protect us. And yes, it is an incredible instrument, but as we all have experienced, the mind lifts us up and tears us down within minutes. And we get lost in our mind chatter of pain, fear, and the unknown. And so, according to Vedic wisdom, our capacity to adapt to each moment is a sign of our mental health. So, when we arrive in a moment, what is brought through that moment, our ability to be with it and to be with it with ease and grace and acceptance, and this greater understanding that each moment comes with the most beautiful medicine and perfect divine wisdom, because this is the moment. There is no other moment. And so as we allow each moment to come into our being and into our experience without rejecting it, we enable ourselves to become more fluid in our capacity to be with reality, and then we create less resistance and static and friction in our system as we receive this beautiful information. And then that also really connects into this level of not being attached to the external world or to our things or to our body, because when we open up our capacity to live and feel and breathe through what arises in each moment, there's no wishing that we were somewhere else or something else or there's something wrong with this, because this is the most precious divine gift, is this moment of awareness and being, and that it is what it is how it is. And then as we arrive at each moment, we typically filter it through a multitude of perspectives and previous understandings that are influenced by our conditioning, our beliefs, our fears, our traumas, that have us resisting and struggling with what has arrived. So we live in this constant tug of war between our mental mind traps and our deep yearning to be free. And one of my teachers shares, to know is not yet to be, and that's from Adyashanti. And how does the knowing really turn into embodied wisdom and become how we flow with ease and grace through our everyday existence? And to know is what is still locked in the mind, and we can know a lot of things, but how does that actually translate to the embodied experience? How does that translate to our to our, like, on a cellular tissue level, to where we can know a lot of things, but that can really stay trapped up in the mind and in that, like, in this region, and then our body has these experiences. So how do we really access our wholeness? How do we reclaim our wholeness? How does knowledge become wisdom, and how do we live that wisdom in an everyday practice? And again, when I say practice, it is a practice, because it takes tuning, and no one is above the practice. The greatest teachers, they sit and practice in prayer and meditation, in sadhana and spiritual practice every day, to purify the body, mind, consciousness, because its tendencies are alive and very tantalizing and very sadistic in its ways, that it can really captivate us, because we're living in these human bodies. We live through this world through our senses, and so the purification processes are meant for everyday practices to purify body, mind, spirit, consciousness, so that we can stay in that frequency of higher awareness, wisdom, and we can live that frequency through our everyday movements, and that our thoughts, they will come and they will go, and they will be full of whatever they are full of, but they don't drag us around. They do not own us. The ego does not control us, and that we have this beautiful inner flame and brilliance to guide us. And so, yes, the mind is a beautiful instrument, and it really should be tuned daily in order to foster a higher awareness and its power and its tendencies. Our mental health is foundational to living happy, healthy, and free. But we must connect to our higher mind and our consciousness and awareness to navigate the natural tendencies of the human mind that try to define and confine our everyday lives. And we are so blessed to have so many ancient practices, traditions, wisdom through Ayurveda, yoga, Vedic wisdom, Chinese medicine, Tibetan medicine. There's so many incredible, brilliant traditions and modalities that offer ways to really create harmony for the mind, body, and soul, and that has a really deep understanding of the path of liberation and ways to really foster and facilitate our capacity to tap into higher awareness, and to offer this really deep, incredible inner peace at the ground of being, that regardless of what the external world is doing, because it's going to do what it does. But what we do have the capacity is to cultivate this inner awareness and inner peace that has this understanding of the dualities of life, the spectrum of emotions, the pain, the suffering, the beauty, the brilliance, and everything in between, and it doesn't get attached, addicted, or needed to experience one or the other in this sense or that sense, and really has this reverence of what shows up, and that there's a blessing and a lesson in all that arrives. And do we have the fortitude and the ground of being to anchor into our frequency that is always and already abundant, beautiful, divine, perfect, and whole? Today's collective and individual mental health is definitely struggling. The level of fear, addiction, mental health issues, and isolation have risen to new levels, and they're affecting the psyche on an individual level and the collective psyche and soul of our humanity, and really our divinity. And we have some pretty intense epidemics that are continuing to rise, and we are very lost in substances to alter our reality in order to cope with the deep devastation and chaos that is felt by so many. And with the latest technology advances and conveniences that have consumed us, we are so plugged into stimulus overload and external forces to search, for our yearning for happiness and freedom. And we aim to really, with that, we please the mind's constant chatter and the body's constant cravings that keep us in these cycles of suffering known as samskara. So it's these mental impressions, recollections, and psychological imprints that we come into this life. And so we get stuck in these loops with these constant trying to like satiate the mind and the body's cravings. And so, with Vedic philosophy, it really believes that we come into this human form to heal these samskaras, healing our karma, and really with that, connecting to our dharma, our purpose, and freeing our souls. And another teacher of mine shared that dying was the greatest ecstasy when we can be finally released of these human bodies and reunited with the infinite soul. And so, when we come into embodied form, we carry with us these samskaras and our karma. And we really ultimately, what we receive, the medicine that we receive, the experiences that we receive, are all really designed to access that perfect like maturation of our karma so that we can free ourselves of these contracts. And so if it was any other way, if these experiences were any other way, they wouldn't lead us to this moment of divine perfection. So there's this deep trust in this universe. There's this deep trust that everything is as it should be. And then there's this capacity to purify our mind and our thoughts, because when we sit in meditation, when we do pranayama, when we do our yogic practices, we're purifying and we're creating space that we can actually have a direct experience and awareness around that those are thoughts and that's not who we are. But those thoughts and who we think we are, they merge and they become one, and we get so stuck and we get so in this dense tissue and experience of being our thoughts, and our thoughts will run rampant, and they're so vulnerable to so many influences. That how do we stay pure, how do we stay awake, how do we stay conscious through living this human experience? And the mind is something that is, again, it's an instrument that is really needs purification practices to really honor its place in our lives, honor its thoughts. But we do not become those thoughts, we are not those thoughts. And then on the flip side of that, it's like the power of thoughts, the power of manifestation, the power of energy. Like, so if those thoughts are just going to run rampant, like what intentional thoughts and what intentional vibration, because everything's energy, right? So thoughts, vibration, energy. So everything's energy. So what energy do we want to put out there? What words, the power of those words create our actions, our beliefs, influence people, influence ourselves, right? So what thoughts, what the power of those thoughts and what they're creating, that ripple effect out into the universe. So purification of our thoughts. We are not our thoughts. And then the power of thought and intention for manifestation and energy. And where are we going as a collective consciousness in humanity? And where do we put our time and attention and our intention and our attention into really, really shifting this collective awareness to a higher state, to a greater frequency of awareness, because we are absolutely brilliant. And one of the things that I say is, we are more afraid of our light than we are of our darkness. And so we are absolutely brilliant, divine. Our capacity is beyond anything that we could possibly imagine. And so when we really can activate our awareness, purify our mind, really align, reclaim our wholeness, connect into our purpose, heal our karma, we are just so incredible. This life, this abundance, this earth, this soul level has everything it needs, and it is perfect and divine. And so can we really relax into this frequency of clarity and freedom, and free our mind, free our thoughts, and really anchor into this journey of the soul. Thank you for joining me here on Liberate Your Life podcast. You can connect with me on Instagram at melindareese.co, or Tahoe Ayurveda, or head to my website at melindareese.com. Thank you, and really empower yourself to connect to that which you truly are, your true self, your true essence, and let's do this together.